This video is sponsored by FlexiSpot. More on that later. The unfortunate reality is artists have to wear a lot of different hats. Diversifying where your income streams come from as an artist is more important than ever. But we're going to talk about not just the ways I make money as an artist, but what ways are there to make money as an artist. Spoiler alert, here are the income breakdowns based on category. Feel free to skip to the section that you are most interested in. Many of you may already know that conventions is my main source of income. Now that does not mean it hasn't gotten a lot harder to make a living this way. With the rising competition and the struggle to get into some of the better shows within the United States, sales across the board for artists not being as strong as they might have been a couple years ago. But what did I actually bring in? I made a total of $134,581.22 in gross sales. I didn't get to take this all home because of travel costs and expenses and taxes and all that, and we'll talk about that more at the end of the video. Just trust me, bro. Trust me. Trust me, bro. Just trust me, bro. I did a total of 16 events this year, and the income from these ranged drastically. I had one event where I actually lost money at, and then I made over 25K at another one. So all of these are between those ranges. This is the first year that I've made less money than I did the year before through conventions. But I also did fewer shows this year than I have in the past. I would like to just do the better shows and then skip the ones that aren't as profitable going forward. But obviously with acceptances and how the convention space works, that's not always possible. Now that's a lot of money. That's a good income. However, conventions might be the largest percentage of gross income I get. It is also the largest source of expenses I have, which I will break down at the very end of this video. And now this leads into online sales. There's obviously a lot of different paths you can take to do online sales, drop shipping, Redbubble, those types of websites that will do those things for you. Typically, I try to steer away from those types of sites just because I feel like the profit margins they give you is a bit scammy and the quality control for the consumer isn't great, and I don't like not being able to control whether my customer has a good experience. Now, the unfortunate part about this is I have to do a lot more of the work. Lazy Dustin doesn't like this. And Lazy Dustin hasn't been making a lot of new products because Lazy Dustin doesn't like to promote new products and try to push sales on social media where the majority of online sales kind of come from. I just want to do my little doodles at home and not worry about anything. So my online sales have definitely suffered a little bit since the last update. They've almost cut in half. And now, yes, Etsy as a platform has gotten far less reliable. People seem to not like to use it. It used to bring in its own traffic, which was one of the great things about that website. And sure, you can use other websites like Shopify or Squarespace or make your own website, but you're driving 100% of your sales. Now, yes, I can do that. We've already talked about, driving your own sales, but I like these other websites because they had built-in search functions where there was a marketplace that was just naturally searching for handmade or art that they wanted to buy. But as the influx in dropshippers and kind of quality control on the website has downgraded in recent years, we've definitely seen much less people going to Etsy to generally search for gifts and shopping for things, unfortunately. So that has hurt sales and also me being lazy. So there's kind of a combination Pizza Hut situation there where I definitely could have done a lot more work, but also the market has gotten a little harder. But that doesn't mean it is still not a large chunk of my income. This year I made $32,624.08. So the majority of my income comes from independent sources, which is great. I don't have to rely on an art director or people to hire me, and that's all lovely and fine and dandy. Now again, this doesn't include the cost of production or shipping or expenses, which we will talk about here in a moment. But what if the type of work you do isn't always the most consumable to, say, a general audience or a marketplace? And you want to do, say, an industry job? Well, do I have bad news for you because the industry is in turmoil. Animation jobs are very rare at the moment and pay not very well. And gaming is also on a decline, especially if you want those coveted in-house positions. Many seasoned professionals are struggling to find work at the moment. So if you can get one of these, that's great. But for me, I haven't even been attempting. So we're going to put a big fat 0 there. And honestly, I never wanted a 9-to-5 anyways. That's why I'm here talking to you on YouTube. That sounds like work, and I don't like to work. So technically, I'm unemployed. Again, please like and subscribe. Now let's talk about FlexiSpot, the sponsor of today's video, and the importance of using an ergonomic chair. Although I already had a desk from them that I had purchased myself a couple years ago, which I love. It's got these nice outlets, really convenient. It's a sit-stand desk, but that's not what they asked me to talk to you about today. This bad boy right here, the C7Max, is an adjustable chair that fits to any body type. Sexy. Putting this together was extremely easy. Took me about 20 minutes in total. And honestly, I've had more expensive chairs that don't feel as good as this one. Especially as somebody who sits here hours at a time painting all day, every day. Having something that's comfortable and that fits my body in a real way is really important. After your average 12-hour drawing sesh, getting up and my back not feeling like it wants to die is a rather good feeling. And for all those reasons, I can confidently say that I recommend this chair. I've definitely been known to go full shrimp mode when doing that art thing that I do. This thing right here, saving my life. I'm getting old. I need this. And then like my head gets tired. So it's like when I look at it, it moves and shit. It moves like you can do. But like, are you tired? Are you sleepy? You want to like take a little nappy nap? You come over here, you pull it out, but damn. Hell yeah. Oh fuck. FlexiSpot is having a spring sale with big discounts on chairs. If you use my discount code C750, you can get $50 off the C7Max on top of their already large discounts. However, I have been doing quite a bit of freelance this year. Anytime a project comes along that I'm interested in, I have no problem doing a one-off, from the comfort of my own home, that is. The major one being Lorcana. I do concept work for them, and I do card art for them. Sadly, the concept work, being some of my favorite work, actually is all under NDA and I can't show anybody, but here are some of my cards that have released recently. The payment per card or per project shifts a bit depending on complications and depending on the IP, but I'm typically paid per artwork based on a contract. And then for the concept work portion of that type of work, I'm normally paid an hourly rate or a day rate. Currently, my day rate is sitting around $750, but this shifts depending on how much I like or dislike your project. But I have worked for a couple other companies this year as well. Unfortunately, they are all still under NDA and I cannot discuss them, one of which I fear may never come out, as so often projects die in pre-viz hell, one of the worst parts of being a concept artist. But if I take all these income sources all together for 2024, I made about $22,000 this year. Not a huge amount, but also not my main source of income. I definitely do not do this full time. And the great thing about this is I can live almost anywhere. So really, I am the dumbass for living in one of the most expensive cities in America. This money could go a lot farther if I chose to do something a bit wiser with my living situation. Japan. Teaching. Teaching is one of the topics that I had listed in my previous income video. However, I don't teach anymore. I was an adjunct professor teaching concept art at a art college. And although I love the interactions I get with students and love giving back to the community and all that, it just financially was not very viable. And as somebody who is a working professional, it didn't really align with my schedule very well. And I felt like that wasn't fair for the students. The time commitment to do it right was just a bit massive, and it felt like I could be helping a lot more people more efficiently over, say, a platform like YouTube than a classroom with, say, 20 people max. There's certainly definitely a lot of issues within the educational space, especially within art these days. Those who are qualified and understand the art industry enough to be able to get a job are the people that you would want teaching the next generation of artists. The incentive is just not there for those individuals to go into teaching fields. And certainly there are exceptions of people who just enjoy teaching and don't necessarily do it for the money. So there's definitely like some amazing professors out there that are definitely sacrificing their economics for the love of teaching students. I think it's something that I definitely will be interested in maybe in the future. My income in that regard is zero, but this is definitely a path that a lot of people can take and is very fulfilling. Creating this YouTube channel in a way was an alternative to that. One that I find that I can reach a lot more people and hopefully be more helpful, also is a bit more creatively fulfilling. However, I was asked to give a lecture or a talk at a number of colleges this year. I think I gave about 5 lectures this year. I think I made about $500 in total. Now, I know some people are making like thousands on giving like really in-depth talks to certain colleges. Maybe I'm bad at negotiating, but I didn't ask for any money, so anything that they gave me was a bonus. That being said, my content creation has multiple forms of income. The first and probably biggest one that most people already know about is AdSense from YouTube. So these are ads that play at the beginning or middle of my videos, and I get paid a percentage of those. So over the course of 2024, I was paid $4,308 in AdSense. But that's not the only way that I make money off of YouTube. So there's also affiliate marketing and sponsorships. In 2024, I was very picky about the sponsors I took and only ended up accepting a few of these. The majority of companies that reached out and wanted to do an integration or sponsorship opportunity I felt weren't a great fit for the channel or just weren't a product that I believed in. That being said, if I had accepted every single sponsor that came my way, we definitely could have put at least one sponsor with every single video that went out this year and probably made an extra 10 to 20 grand over the course of the year. Now, obviously, this would have made the videos a bit longer and maybe a bit more cluttered. Who knows if they would have done as well. I could have been shilling it up all the way to the Bahamas. I don't know, bro. But I refrained from this for a multitude of reasons. However, I am not allowed to discuss the amount of money I made through sponsors because I just did not take enough for it to be a secret of how much I made if I told you, which would go against my NDA. Just know that it does not change my overall income for the year very much at all, as I only took on one sponsor last year, but I've been pretty picky with it in sponsorships. And now for affiliate marketing. So this is where if I link a product that say is sold through Amazon or other retailers that have affiliate marketing programs, it doesn't cost you anything extra, but if you end up using my link and buying something, I get a percentage of that sale. So oftentimes people are asking for recommendations, especially when it comes to the convention space about setups and stuff like that. So anytime I can give an affiliate link, I definitely do so. I try never to recommend things that I am not already recommending. I don't make enough off of it for it to be really relevant to like try to push sales in that way. But, you know, it helps a little bit here and there. I made about $1,830. I don't know how many people are aware of the honey scam, but I definitely felt like I was not confirming as many like official sales through my affiliate links as I thought people were using, because I would get people all the time being like, oh, I bought this because you recommended it, you bought this because you recommended it, but I was not seeing that many, like more people were telling me that they were using it than I was actually showing up in my statistics. Since that scandal has come out and people have stopped using honey, I've definitely noticed that my affiliate marketing clicks are much higher. I would say almost about 40% higher since that scandal had dropped. And granted, maybe my videos have been doing a little better in recent months, but it's hard to quantify. Definitely makes me think, though, that somebody needs to join that class action lawsuit. These are obviously income sources that aren't a traditional path of income and take a bit of building up non-traditional art skills to get offered or achieve. Video editing, growing a large following, things like that. I would definitely say not to try to start out with these paths before kind of developing your art career in other ways, as those will help you immensely succeed in these other more content creation spaces, at least if you're art focused. Other social media marketing profit things. So we know TikTok pays people. They don't pay me. I made $0. We know Twitter or X or whatever pays people. They don't pay me. $0. Instagram bonuses. I have bonuses, but bonuses is weird. Sometimes they pay you for some things and then sometimes they don't pay you for other things. I used to get paid to post reels and then they said, never mind, you don't get to get paid for making reels anymore. But now you get to be paid for posting threads because there's real people on threads for sure. So if this is one of your sources of income, I wouldn't rely on it just because they're so wishy-washy about turning these off and on. And also, if you're unsure how to do this, just go down into your bonuses on your Instagram and you have to physically accept and turn it on. I know a lot of people who were being offered this who didn't even know, so definitely give it a check-see. And it seems kind of irrelevant based on follower count. I know people with millions of followers who were not offered it, and people who have sub 10,000 followers who were offered it. So I don't know what's going on if you can get that extra money sick. And I made, what did I make? I made $1,715 for posting threads that nobody ever saw. So that makes sense. So that's a thing. You could make money as an artist or somebody who posts threads, I guess. So check that out. And then we also have galleries or retail spaces, wholesale or consignment. So personally, I'm not a big fan of the gallery scene. It's just not really how I like to sell my work, but there's definitely a lot of money to be made in that space, especially in the more fine artsy scene. But I ever so often do show my work at certain galleries here or there. This year, I made approximately like $600 from galleries. My work isn't, it's digital work. It's normally like fancy prints or something. It's not going to be very good for the collector space, which is normally what the gallery scene caters to. And galleries typically take a 50-50 cut, which I'm pretty good at finding my own audience and getting people to buy their work directly. So there's not really a lot of reason for me to just give over a 50-50 cut, unless it's going to be very minimal effort on my part, which, to be fair, is oftentimes what the gallery is for, is to find that client base that you might not already have. So if you're struggling to find a client base, but you do decent work, maybe the gallery scene is for you. This is a bit different from like retail or consignment, as these spaces are normally more of a casual shopping situation, and often the cut is a bit smaller on the side of the retail space, and oftentimes is a bit more product heavy. And there's definitely galleries that have more of a fusion type feel, where they have a retail space and a more traditional gallery as well. I tend to lean more into these for my consignment spaces. There is a number of these shops or galleries or whatever you want to say that I sell my work wholesale or consignment to. The difference between the two, I would say, is if I sell my work wholesale, they're buying everything up front. If they don't sell it, it doesn't matter. I've already been paid. My hands are done with it. That's their merch at this point. And consignment is I don't get paid until they sell it. In 2024, I made about $5,500 in wholesale and consignment combined. But this is passive income. Baby don't like to do a lot of work, you know what I mean? So anything where people are going to sell things for me, where I don't have to do anything, is great. Love that. Would love to have more of these. But unfortunately, a lot of galleries these days just haven't been that reliable. So the ones that I do work for are great, but if you know any others, any extras, let me know in the comments. That'd be great. I'd love to have like 20 or 30 of these on my roster and never have to leave the house again. So that's some of the ways I make my money, or have made my money, or also don't make my money anymore. But what are some other ways that artists can make money or make a living? So let's rattle off a couple. The first big one I see a lot of is digital products. Everybody loves digital products. So you can sell brushes, you can sell those note card things that I still don't understand that everybody talks about. That's a thing. Patreon's good. This is another one of those things where you have to pull, like you have to have an audience and you have to pull the income there, and it's like another thing to maintain. So I try to avoid that, but if you have those resources already, you're probably not lacking options in making money, but you can go with Patreon. One option that I think actually is a really great way to build some notoriety is Kickstarter. I think Kickstarter still work absolutely well, even for people who do not have large followings. Licensing, you can license your work. That definitely gets more industry. Publishing, if you, publishing is hard, but that's a thing that people can do that I don't know anything about. Navigating the publishing market can be a lot better if you can find a good agent. There's a lot of those agents out there that will take any artist and they just take hundreds of artists and they kind of do whatever and just take a really large cut of your money. I would try to avoid those, but getting your foot in the door is beneficial, I guess, depending on your goals. So, take that information as you will. Oh, commissions. If you hate yourself and you want to take commissions, that's cool. I've commissioned a lot of people, but I don't take on commissions because I don't want to paint your shitty OCs. But if you want to paint my shitty OCs, let me know. Hit me up. You got a portfolio, send it my way. I'm actually looking for some people. This isn't even a joke. Definitely need some, especially if you know like some small form animation. Anywho, what else? I don't know. I could start rattling off every industry job. Storyboard artist, color keyer, rigger, you can rig things. VFX artist, you a VFX artist, you can get a job so quick. Oh my god, nobody wants to do that. And yeah, you could, yep. Let me see. In this very beautiful, perfect job market that is super easy to definitely make it as a full-time artist these days. Yeah, no worries. Don't stress about it all. Just put yourself out there and you're succeeding already. Oh boy. Now, if I add up all of my income sources, I made $203,660.79. So about $200K, but that is definitely not what I get to take home. What is the cost of doing business? So we'll start with the expenses that are absolutely unavoidable. In the travel cost category, I have flights. I spent $5,600 on flights, and this is exclusively for conventions. Hotel costs, $4,800. And then booth fees. God, booth fees have gotten out of hand. $8,426.46. So obviously this is convention exclusive, Artist Alley booth fees. Although I think this number is crazy. I do know some people who spend like 4 or 5K on a single booth at certain like exhibitor hall events. So maybe I'm doing okay. I don't know. I miss the days of like $200 Artist Alley tables, but I think those are long gone at this point. Food while traveling. Now this is where I get a little bougie. So your average person probably could have this much lower, but also I think most people's hotel cost is probably a bit higher, as I share a lot of Airbnbs and we get that price pretty far down compared to how many shows I do. So, you know, a little push and pull there. So food, $9,378.17. Some of these numbers are exact and some of them are estimates, as we're still figuring out our tax situation for the end of the year and still trying to make sure that we have accounted for everything. So if you hear rounded numbers, those are probably estimates, but I think they're very close to being accurate. Luggage prices keep going up. $1,750. Shipping to shows, mostly to avoid some of the luggage fees, about $700 this year. Luckily, I can drive to some shows. Again, this is pretty much exclusively for conventions. So car maintenance, $1,356.16. Really cheap this year. Normally that number is higher. Gas, $2,466.03. That's not gas for the whole year. That's just gas for me driving to a convention or something work related. Ubers or rental cars while at an event, $2,566.72. Parking is just about $600. Production cost. This is one of the most unavoidable expenses. I can't really shift this too much. I actually am able to order things in really high bulk, so I think this number actually is much lower than it has been in years past, even though I believe I am producing things at a higher quality at this point, or I would like to think that. So honestly, I'm pretty happy with how low this number is. $25,120.36. And then I separated at-home printing costs, which is just under $1,500. So about $27,000 in total. Now, some expenses that you might be able to avoid if you really wanted to grind. So I hire an assistant at most of my events just because I'm getting tired and lazy. So that expense was $19,000 for the year. I've also hired some part-time editors on and off just to help me with this channel. That's about $1,500 at this point. And then I also have people who help me pack and prep for shows every now and then. So that is $3,500 that I've spent in 2024. Now, point of sale fees. So anytime I take a credit card payment, they get I believe it is a 1.5% fee or charge on that. So that is $2,811.07. And now these are from online sales. So Etsy. Etsy fees is $3,162.43. Shipping costs, and this is just again for Etsy, $4,375.82. Etsy's very inefficient marketing. I tried that for a bit, or it's mandatory. I can't remember. $339.01. Packing supplies, so anytime I'm shipping stuff, the actual supplies, tapes, Tape, boxes, anything like that, including the custom ones, $3,456.80. So that is the majority of my expenses. So that leaves a total of $102,409.03, almost cutting my income in half. Taxes. Oh my God, what about taxes? Taxes. Why aren't you mentioning taxes? All this is great, but what about the taxes? Did he even talk about taxes? This is all a lie because of the taxes. Let me tell you a little secret, bro. Let me tell you a little, just trust me, bro. Let me tell you a little secret. Tax rates are public. Also, I'm not doing my taxes for like another month because I'm lazy. But you know. Okay, let me show you a little something about taxes. So I made within this income range, I owe this amount in taxes. But oops, nope, because of all the expenses, I actually made less money that is taxable. So I'm actually within this income bracket. So you could deduce that I owe 24% of that to the IRS. Fun. So with a rough estimate, I'm actually only going to take home about $76,000 for the year. However, what about the sales tax, you might ask? Well, sales tax is not part of your income. So although you might collect it if you're doing conventions or online sales, that is technically not your money, whether it's in your bank account or not. The money that comes from that does not account to your income. So those numbers are not pictured here. Those are something that I just collect and then I give them to whatever state or country that I owe them to. AKA my tax person does that, because that gets way too complicated for my small brain as I sell stuff in a lot of different states and locations. But that is the difference between income tax and sales tax, which I see a lot of people who do Artist Alley get a little confused by. If you're selling online, depending on the platform you're using, that platform might take care of this for you, but definitely make sure to keep in mind this if you're using a personal website. And also, I have more expenses than just the ones I mentioned. I have some fun expenses, like investing back into my business with filming equipment, studio decor, all these other things. These are all write-offable things that will take away from my total income for the year, which will lessen my tax load. But as those numbers aren't really a mandatory thing to run a business like this, I did not include them. So trust me, I am not paying $110,000 worth of taxes to the government, because fuck that shit. But also, I'm not a tax expert. Don't listen to anything I say. For me, I never really liked having a boss. I like being at home and painting my little pictures, and conventions and online sales and content creation kind of opens the door for that. On top of it, it opens up other creative avenues that I enjoy. But that's not for everybody. Perhaps you want to work in a studio. Perhaps you like showing at galleries. And that's okay. But I wouldn't rely on just one thing, especially not in 2025. We've seen how unstable many of these art markets are. I think income transparency can be really helpful to anybody entering any particular field, especially the art field, as there is so much confusion on how to make money as an artist, especially these days. So my goal is not for this to come off as bragging. I know I've done pretty well as an artist, but I hope that this will help new inspiring artists. And don't think that like day 2 into being an artist that you're just going to make a boatload of money. Like, this is definitely a build up over a long time. And again, at the end of the day, making money is great and all, but my ultimate goal is to be at home painting, doing the thing I love. And being able to make an income and pay my bills is the thing that allows that. So, unfortunately, the reality of being an artist these days is it has to be a business of some sort. And thank you again for FlexiSpot for sponsoring this video. FlexiSpot is having their spring sale with big discounts on all of their chairs. Use my code for an extra $50 off. Check the link down in the description.